You're listening to Truly Unruly with Marcus and Jessica Trufant.
Yo, what's up, Trufant? How y'all guys? How y'all doing?
Doing well, my brother.
Doing okay.
How about yourself? You good?
I'm doing all right, man. I just finished coaching a Little League baseball game. I'm exhausted.
Oh, sweet.
You're exhausted.
How did that go?
It was good, but it's kind of rough wrangling 6-year-olds. It's like you're trying to wrangle kitties, like cats.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's got to be to a point to where you kind of just let them, it just go, right? If you guys want to lose or if you guys want to get hurt, be my guest. And then you'll learn
I was going to say,
lesson.
that's pretty much how we deal with
That's
our
what
kids.
we do with our kids, right?
Like, literally.
Yeah,
Like a
it's like
basketball team.
my competitive edge kicks in, then I have to remind myself, oh, shoot, they're 6.
Right.
But
they're still learning, so.
they're still learning. You guys ready for today's topic? It's a good one because we left off on it last week.
You know, I don't know much about the topic for this week. I remember a little bit of last week, but what are we talking about?
All right. We live in a world where there are wives that are the breadwinners and they make more money than their husbands, and their husbands can't handle it.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Moving on. I'm like, that's a fact.
Factuals, yeah.
So
Big facts.
So I found a really cool article about this, and I actually have some examples because, you know, when you think of the breadwinner, you usually think of like the husband, right? The hunter-gatherer, the husband goes out, hunts for dinner, brings it back, and the wife cooks it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we live in a time now where that is just not the case anymore, which I think is good because, you know, women need to be able to sit at the table when it comes to being bosses and CEOs and running companies and getting paid fair wages. So let's first start off with this. Men's egos may not fare well when their wives earn more. At the other end of the spectrum, it may not behoove men to brag about their earning power before marriage. Men who lead a flashy lifestyle are regarded as being more interested in short-term hookups or affairs than marriage. Do you guys believe there is any truth to that?
Men that are flashy.
Short-term hookups.
Men that are flashy only want short-term hookups. I don't really know if I agree with that. And what constitutes a flashy man? Like what does it mean to be a flashy man?
A lot of stuff.
Like
Yeah,
what?
I'm assuming the cars and the clothes, right?
Well, I'm assuming if you're having the cars and the clothes and all this kind of stuff, that it just might be a front because you're broke.
No, not so much a front, but some people just like what they like, right? But I think what this study is saying that it may be compensation for, or not compensation. What's the word? It's the word I'm looking for. When you overcompensate or
for being broke,
or for having some type of other issues. Okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna put the shine on. I'm gonna have the cars and all this kind of stuff. But really, inside your mind or in your heart,
but really, he's longing for like a marriage.
You're hurting.
Commitment.
All you want is your friends or your wife or your girlfriend to really just say
no. But he doesn't have a wife or a girlfriend. Remember, he only wants short-term relationships. That's a stereotype, and
Agreed.
I'm not sure if that.
Could be some truth to it, could be not. Could be not. But I understand there probably is some people that overcompensate in that area because they're lacking in other is what the conversation is about, right, Kill? Am I hitting that right? I guess am I saying that right?
You're right there. You're right there. Yep.
Okay.
Oh, I'm like, no. But yeah.
Hater.
I mean, it all, it's all relevant. It all goes together. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So like, I don't know. I've had this conversation with actually one of my best friends, Mike, and we both believe that we think it's sexy when a woman can go out and go get it. And there's a lot of men that think that. So I have some examples here. This lady says, she goes, I make 3 times the amount my husband makes, and he thinks it's the sexiest thing in the world. This other one is, my mom has always made more than my dad. She's also more intelligent and more tech savvy. My dad couldn't give a flying fuck. He's thrilled he's got such a smart woman he can always call on. And he comes from the boomer era where women stayed at home and men went to work. So
that's heavy.
First, why do you have to sexualize a woman being the breadwinner? Why is it sexy?
Well, no, it's attractive. Like, just like how a man that is a go-getter and works hard might be attractive to a woman, to a man, like, that's sexy. That's hot. Like, wow, like that's a turn on. Like, wow, she knows how to go out there and get it, and she works hard. Like, that's right. That's an attractive trait. There's nothing.
I think
like
Sister Jessica is reaching on this one. I think
really, no, because it's not, always that's
no, it's not that. It's
she does that. That's
sexy.
What the fuck is sexy about earning more money?
Means
like, what is sexy about that?
Appreciative or
okay, well, different.
It's a
wording.
good look. Sexy, appreciative in a relationship. That's a good thing, though. If it's husband, wife, or his boyfriend or girlfriend. To see my wife out there doing her thing and then making the money, if she's making more money and it's a good look to me, okay, yeah.
That's sexy.
I like it. That's sexy.
Yeah, like work ethic is hot, Jess. Like, that's hot.
There's a difference between work ethic and actually being a breadwinner. There's two.
Well, great work ethic usually contributes to making great money because you work hard.
But I think it's okay to call it sexy if the just like in an example, if the woman is the breadwinner and it's like, okay.
Well, I'm over here as a female, right? So everything to me is sexist, sexually charged, discriminatory, it's just everything, okay?
But I got one thing to say about this whole topic, right?
Oh, God.
Because we talk about how we put women in this box. We are in a box.
That's why it's so sexy when we earn a lot of money.
Is you have to look the part. You got to do this. You got to do that. But on the other side of it, society portrays the man as supposed to be a certain way. It's supposed to be the breadwinner. It's supposed to pay the bills. It's supposed to do all this stuff. But that's not fair either, though. Because if we're going to say, if we're going to open it up on both sides, that was all I'm saying.
I know.
It can't be like that on one side. Always screwed up and it's messed up if we're putting women in this box. We're doing the same thing to men.
Right,
now.
But you don't understand that women have always been put in a box. Men have always had an advantage over women. Women still do not get equal pay. Women are still fighting for the same things that we were fighting for, 30, 40 years ago. So no, it's not apples to apples, really. It's apples to pizza.
Banana.
I don't know. That's even a thing. Apples to pizza. Can you say that?
Well, Jess has a point because only 30% of U.S. wives earn more than their husbands, and that's from February 2020.
And that is from discriminatory practices.
But
that is from history and the treatment of women and treating them like objects and all of those things. Degrading women. Women aren't good enough, smart enough. Actually,
is that the flip side of all that? I agree with all that. Is that puts men in this box? Is you're supposed to be in this certain space? So if
that's the role you guys. I know.
I'm not.
It's not
pointing
something
the finger,
that it was
though.
like given to you.
I'm not pointing the finger. I'm saying if we're gonna break down the walls on the women's side and say we shouldn't do this, we should do the same on the men's.
It's not equal
side.
There you go. It's not equal. You know it.
If men aren't supposed to be looked at as the breadwinner, pay the bills, do all this kind of stuff, be the head of the household, right? Even though you can still be the head of the household and not bring in all the money. But all I'm saying is, let's be careful of how we put people in the box. If we're not going to do it to women, don't just say, okay, the man is supposed to do this and supposed to do all that, because we're kind of doing the same thing. I know it's not apples to apples, but we're doing the same thing.
Let's look at who is in charge of everything, who makes the most money, who dominates, who makes the decisions. Like I said, you guys literally seize your power. Therefore, if y'all ain't breadwinners and all that shit, that's your fault. You guys are sorry about it. You guys shouldn't have done all that to begin with. You guys shouldn't have degraded women, put women as second-class citizens in the first place.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what you're saying is that if a man is upset about not being the breadwinner, is
so fucking what?
His own fault, and he should
No. It's just the way it is. It is. And if he's sad that he's not the breadwinner, that just proves my point.
Mine too, though, is that men are supposed to be this.
Right. But they're supposed to be this because of, okay, so anyways, go ahead.
Well, here's something about American men. So American men are still more comfortable in relationships when they are the breadwinner. In fact, the risk of divorce is nearly 33% higher when the husband isn't working full time.
Yeah. Yeah. I read something that, husbands, especially when they are staying at home and taking care of kids, it leads to depression, feelings of, low self-worth, all that kind of stuff. And it causes problems, jealousy of the wife, resentment, all of those things. So, yes.
And I think personally, a lot of that has to do with men. We like feeling useful. And when we don't feel useful, then we almost feel like we're wasting time or wasting space.
Okay, my example was a man that stays at home and watches the kids. So you're saying that's not useful?
No, it is
You're
useful.
taking a whole kill.
No, it is. It's useful, but at the same time, you have to understand with men, we in that realm and space of employment and work, like we are builders. So now I'm not saying you can't be at home building your kids. I mean, as a parent, that's what you should be doing regardless. But
Right.
the thing with men is like we like to physically feel useful. We like our intellect and intelligence to feel like it's being useful and benefiting towards something greater, which, like I said, again, with staying at home and watching kids, that I think as a parent, you should be doing that regardless.
Right.
But just outside of that, it's like, what's the example I can use?
Half these dudes don't use their intellect. That's why we're like in the stupid position our country is in now. So no, men, they don't like to use their intellect. They like to use their power, their I'm a man, all that kind of shit. So they're not using intellect, actually.
Some women gravitate towards that type of man.
They're not. You guys aren't using intellect at all.
Science and history.
It's a full fucking dick swinging contest.
The biggest man and the strongest man in the tribe or whatever, right, is the one that is king and most sought after, right? But but
with gorillas,
I'm gonna jump back over to the other side again. No, I'm gonna jump. I'm gonna jump back over to the other side. So if the woman makes more and the guy is staying at home and doing his thing, watching the kids, sometimes for a woman, she's able, because she is the breadwinner, she's doing the thing, she's able to push the man or degrade in some cases.
Maybe, but
because
I think
it's looked at as, okay, you're not a man's man, or what the man, or what's been created by society. Just like we both agreed to, okay, you're doing this and I'm doing this, which is kind of the man's job.
So I'm gonna gender roles, and I'm
talk to you this way, or I'm gonna come at you this way, which can lead to that depression and other stuff that we've talked about. Sometimes it just comes on its own, but sometimes the woman has a
I believe there's
active role in
instances
that.
like that, but I can bet that majority of the time, the women who are breadwinners aren't coming home and talking down to their man, unless their man is
subliminal.
No, unless their man is a fucking bum and won't get a job. So yeah, I will talk shit to you that way.
Well, that's good that you guys brought that up, because here's the segue. We're going to talk about Dr. Peters' story. This guy, Dr. Peters. You ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
So Dr. Peters said, he goes, "My wife has always earned more money than me. And for a while, it absolutely killed our sex life. Dead. I'm a trial lawyer now, but from 2006 to 2016, I didn't make a dime. I went back to school to get my master's and PhD to try to break into academia. But he also said his relationship ran into difficulty because how his wife handled their disparity in income. His wife made $180,000 a year, he said, and she was always the one that had the final word when it came to vacations, where they ate dinner, and other household bills. The kids would ask her for money, but when she would say no, they'd respond, 'Fine, I'll ask Dad,' he added, and then she would snort and laugh and say, 'Yeah, sure, go ahead.'
Exactly.
He got a higher paying job, and happily things improved." So what it sounds like is this. You know, we all know that money at the end of the day does not buy happiness, but money gives you security, right? And with security, it gives you power. And with that power, it gives you leverage. So when you're making the money, you have the leverage to which way of how the power in your house sways, right?
Right.
And
historically,
and with a lot of dudes, straight up, being completely transparent, they want to be the king of their damn castle. And when they don't feel like they're the king of their damn castle, it's like, all right, well, damn, I'm taking a back seat. And
Let me be clear.
Ego or what?
Yeah, well,
y'all is crybabies.
Let me be clear, though. So when I talk about the situation just like this, Kel, where the woman is coming down and she's laughing when the kids come to ask the dad for money and all this kind of stuff, that is a extreme situations. But the other side of it, if it's the majority of the men make money and this is the traditional way it's supposed to be, a man should not be taking a shit on his wife because she's not making the money.
Right.
It should go both ways. In a perfect situation, it should be a partnership.
Well, you know what, Marcus? The man might not take a shit on his wife, but me being a stay-at-home mom who happily spends the money that he earns, it's outside. It's like a societal thing. They will come and attack you and belittle you for being a stay-at-home mom, and they work all these hours, and it's like, don't
Tell
you
them
wish
to come
you
home and watch 5 kids.
But don't you wish you didn't have to work? Okay. Who really, really wants to? I believe majority of people are in jobs that they fucking hate.
That's America. Yeah.
So I'm just saying, who really wants to go out and work and be miserable when they can actually, stay home, manage their house, be there for their kids every single moment. And in society, that is not rewarded. It's not. It's looked down upon. But, when you're working your ass off to give money to Uncle Sam, you're doing it big.
By design, right?
Come on now. But there are some people that literally don't want to stay home with their kids. And I appreciate that because it is hard. But I think I'm going personal, but it is. It's a big thing. And it's like almost the joke's on you. You're the one that is miserable in your job. Don't come for me. Thank you.
Well, I saw something else here that says, like, because you can tell, like, a lot of this debate has to essentially do with gender politics, right? But, you know, we've been living in a time the last, 10 years or so, maybe 12 years or so, when our economy has been really uncertain. And so I had something here that says, gender politics take a back seat to an uncertain economy. Uncertain economic times and age bring a dose of realism to gender politics at home. More than half Americans say that They want a partner who provides financial security more than head over heels love. Goes back to my question. I think I've asked you guys this 10 times in the last 10 episodes. So does that prove that we live in a time that people do not marry for love? They marry for financial security.
Well,
I think this kind of proves that.
Historically, you marry for, I don't know. I think you had, as a woman, you had to get married, and it wasn't necessarily, I think part of it was for stability, but it was to be married and have kids. So I think that has kind of carried, that mentality, which we've gone over, has kind of carried over to today. But now it is, oh, you're just looking for somebody with money. Well, that's how it's been. Not even money, just security. So a dude with a job.
I think that's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with marrying for stability, but doing anything that's just one-sided, I think there always has to be a hybrid type of view or a dance, which I like to talk about, that we have to do this dance, right? There's a little bit of yin, a little bit of yang. And yeah, you want to be in love. You want to be able to tolerate this person, this and that. But you want the stability too. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
I think now that we're looking at it, in some cases it's gone far, left. I'm just gonna only talk to people that have this certain type of bag, right?
Right.
Or I'm only gonna get with a woman that looks this way or whatever, right? But it's not so much for love. But so once you get too far left or too far right, I think always doing that hybrid thing, kind of going through the dance, those are the best case scenarios.
And the people that are chasing money or want stability, look at the system. Look at America. It literally makes it so you almost have to depend on somebody else because it's just so fucked up, and there's no opportunity and no jobs and all this kind of stuff. And especially for minorities, come on now. So you have to look at everything. I don't think people are necessarily, there are gold diggers, but some people lack opportunity, lack resources, and want somebody that has that.
Yeah.
So
that's okay in the right situation.
I think in a lot of
I'm not
situations,
promoting
if
gold
everybody
digging,
was
but-
able to get jobs and do all this and whatever, and make their own money easily,
then there would be no need.
There
right.
would be no need,
Yeah.
but there's
Agree.
not. It's
Agree.
not like that. So
Well, here's some research here. It says some research suggests that couples are at a higher risk of splitting up and less likely to marry when the male partner earns less than the female partner. Other experts say couples are more likely to stay together even if the wife earns more than her husband. Maybe they can't afford to move out into separate places, or perhaps one person is a freelancer or the other has a full-time job with health insurance. Now, I've seen a lot of people in that situation. And that kind of sucks because there are people that are in situations that's like, I don't even want to be with this person anymore, but I can't even afford to not be with this person anymore. So you essentially have like a roommate that you hate.
right, it's
tough.
marriage for convenience.
But that's America. Yeah, that's kind of how we get down.
It's kind of how it is. You can't.
If we got these kids, I need your insurance that goes to your job
Right.
and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I get it.
I mean, it definitely does prove though that like, and I hate saying this, but like marriage is a business agreement. At the end of the day, I don't care how in love you are with somebody. I don't care how much they just swept you off your feet. You are signing a legal binding contract that you just can't just walk away from.
Right.
So
In the
that
grand
definitely
scheme of
proves.
things. Yes.
Yeah, that definitely proves that marriage at the end of the day is a business, just like everything else.
Right. Just like everything else. Everything is a business transaction.
Everything's
Everything
a
is
business
about.
at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Follow the money.
My thing is though, if you're stuck, and I think this could be for men or women, why not take that extra step though and see if you could step outside of yourself and bring the love into it? I know it is business, and in some situations, like you talked about, Kel, you can't leave because I need insurance for the kids. I need to cover this. I need to cover that. Try to make it work. And I'm a guy that's glass half full, but it doesn't have to be the roommate situation if you don't want it to be.
Right. Some people prefer it though, but
some people prefer it, but do they really? Or do they really just not putting the time and effort in and the work in? Sometimes I know, things are broken and you can't fix it, but in a lot of situations, if you really work, you can make it work.
Mm-hmm.
That was fake.
Yeah, but most people don't want to give up shit.
That was fake.
Wait, what'd you say?
That was fake by Jess. She was like, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
but
you said,
I think in that instance though, like people are so stubborn in their relationships. I just feel like people don't want to give up stuff. It's like, well, damn, like I have to give up.
Power struggle, right?
Yeah, the power struggle of like, well, I don't want to have to. If I have to give something up, they have to give something up, or they're not willing to give something up. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm not gonna sacrifice something to try to stick around for the sake of the relationship or the family or whatever the case may be, because this other person might just be so selfish. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
But that's exactly what I'm talking about though, Kel. Being able to step outside of yourself. In a relationship, it's a agreement to where both sides have to come together. And if one side is holding on and the other side is holding on, it's never going to work. And then you are going to have the roommate situation. And that's a bad look. That's, kind of old school. Your grandma and your grandpa, they got two separate rooms and they come together to eat at the table. But
you know what? I think it works sometimes, especially when you have kids. I think it works.
But you know what though? I agree with you, Jess, but I don't, because with kids, like, do you really want to give them that example of like, this is how my parents showed affection and love by actually like not showing it? Because it's like, it's better for you. I think it's better if you just split up and divorce. I mean, yeah, it's going to suck and hurt for the kids, but I'd rather split up and divorce than have this like toxic environment in front of my kids and try to like fake it, because after a while your kids are going to know you're faking it.
So what is toxic? Are they fighting, or
I mean,
they just don't like each other. If you don't want to be around each other, it's a business type of situation. We're staying together for the sake of stuff
of the kids
and not for love.
Right. Well, unless there is, like you said, toxic and fighting and verbal, physical abuse, cohabitation is very common, and it is more beneficial for kids to have two parents under the same roof, whether they like each other or not, than to not have it.
Disagree. Even though the facts may say that, but that's a bad look though. Just staying together and going through the motions, that's a good example for the kids, or that's something.
Well, what do you think married people do? Or are you talking about marriage? Are we talking about people that are married? Are we talking about cohabitation, or what are we talking about?
All of the above though. If you're just staying together just to stay together and you really don't care for each other at all.
But there's married people that don't care for each other and that are like violent, and they have a volatile relationship. So
violence is one thing. Too. Yes, I agree. I'm agreeing with you. But violence is one thing, but not having proper interaction can be detrimental to kids as well. Is all I'm saying.
Well, that means that if they're not having proper interaction, that like, I don't know I'm assuming like, if you guys have a business deal that you will interact properly. And I don't know. I just think I don't know. I think it's better.
I don't know. Like your kids seeing their parents sleep in like separate beds, or, you know what I'm saying? Why is dad always sleep on the couch? And like your kids not seeing, your parents, seeing the parents have like affection, like the dad or mom say, hey, I love you. Have a good, you know what I'm saying? Like it's like literally like having a roommate. Like I don't know. I just don't think that's a healthy environment, because that's the problem. Like every older person that I know that's like in their like 60s or 50s or 70s that's been married, that's not married now, they've all told me the same thing. They're like, if you ever get in an issue with your marriage, don't stay just for the kids. They'll be like, that's the mistake I made.
Right.
And it ruined me, and it ruined my happiness. That's one thing I've always heard from older people. So, I mean, I get what you're saying, Jess.
That is true, Kel, but I'm talking about a mutual business, like a mutual understanding. It is toxic and damaging for two people that literally are in a marriage that do not like each other, that fight all the time and do all these things. No, it's probably better for the child. But if there is an understanding that we are together, we're going to raise this child together, but we are not getting married, we're going to live underneath the same roof, I think it's okay. Unless they start bringing in outside people.
Right.
That can be a little bit different. That can get weird.
That's what I'm saying. How long do you think that can go on for? Like that can't go on forever. Like that kind of arrangement of just like, all right, well, we're gonna.
If you hate somebody,
after a while, it's like someone's gonna step out.
Something else,
because we're clearly
like,
not.
It doesn't make sense.
Some people can't afford to step out.
Well, they
can't afford to.
That's
leave,
misery.
Right?
That's torture. That's torture.
That is torture.
And you wasting your life.
But your kids might not even realize that it's torture. They see mommy and daddy.
No, they realize it because
daddy, mommy and mommy under the same roof. So it's like,
But just like as a human, though, you're going to have certain needs. And like, I'm not going to sit here and like, well, part of our business agreement is that
they come
at
together
least once
probably.
a month you have to fuck
the people
me.
that are in those situations, they come together.
Kel, actually, you can have that type of agreement
They
too.
come together, but I'm saying it's not, there's more to life than that. A relationship should be more than that. People should want more than that.
Right.
Maybe I'm in a dream world or I'm in a, different type of headspace, but that's a bad look. Who wants to go through that type of torture? I hate this person. I have to live with them. Okay. I have to have sex with somebody. So, all right, it's going to be you. And that's I think those are not typical situations. But they happen though. I agree with you. Stuff like that does happen.
They do.
Another thing, getting back to wages and money. So I guess married men earn more than single men or married women. Married men sit on top of the wage ladder. The wages of married men far surpass those in all other groups. Married women, single men, and single women. The wages of married men exceed $80,000 per year on average by their peak earning years, while other groups barely graze $50,000 per year on average.
Okay, so who are we? What group of men are we referring to?
What do you mean?
What do you mean,
Is this just like like you said, their peak wage is $80,000?
Married men.
What married men are you referring to?
No, the wages of married men exceed $80,000 per year by their peak earning years. So by the years of your life that you're making the most money that you're probably ever going to make in your life, they're surpassing $80,000 a year.
Okay, that doesn't apply to most people, I don't think.
What are you talking about, like minorities and stuff?
Right,
like that?
I'm like, I don't think that applies to everybody. But
well, this is just saying
probably average, right?
Is it?
Yeah, just like average. Yeah.
That's a good ass average.
And I guess the first thing I would say is that married men don't have a choice. They got a lot of dependence in most situations, right? Usually there's kids, of course there's a wife, and there's stuff.
And a lot of married men are more educated than single men at that point, at the peak earning age. I don't know what it is. So naturally, they probably make a little bit more money.
Nah, this was good though. Truly Unruly, Marcus Trufant, Jessica Trufant. My name is Kel. Remember, follow the page on Instagram, Truly Unruly _podcast. You can follow Marcus _Trufant on IG, Jessica _Trufant, myself, media _Kels. If you love us and want us to continue to succeed, I suggest you like and subscribe. If you want to catch the visual, just subscribe to Marcus Trufant on YouTube, or just search Truly Unruly Podcast on YouTube, and you can catch us every Sunday on Converge. I think that was everything, y'all.
That's it. That's it. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Another one in the can. Till next time, y'all. Peace and love.